Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today I'm going to be going over the class event for the Sorcerer class. So let's get into that. As far as what we are stuck using, it is Karakoth and Daemon troops, which leaves us with almost nothing to choose from. We have the 7. So almost all of them are completely useless. Basically what I end up doing is going 3 Mesmers, put a black manacle there, or really any purple weapon for that matter, just to go and deal damage. Main reason for black manacle specifically is so we could hopefully get the 20% chance to devour, and basically just go from there. We don't have much of another option other than just kind of brute forcing it with something like that, or you can go, of course, not Mountain Crusher, but Mang, or some kind of other similar weapon, and just roll it down that way. But yeah, basically just feeding a bunch of mana or a bunch of stats into something that's actually useful is about the only way to really do it, since the choices we currently have as far as troops for this are pretty abysmal. But Black Manacle, just rush it up, get all the mana we need. We're starting with a Purple Storm off one of our perks, so we're utilizing that to ideally get more purple. I don't know where they are, it feels like none of them, even though we have the Storm set to do so. I guess we'll go for a Skull just to make sure it doesn't indeed go down. Ideally, he'll give us a little bit of mana. We'll go right into our Devour, ideally, and go from there. So, do we actually go and poke it? We already have enough AoE to hit it. I guess we just let it poke once. So we'll go for this. We did not get our Devour, but still, it's enough damage even without it. That will still end up getting the kill. We also have it set, if you have level 70, you can set it to enchant every single time we take a green. We're gaining 2 mana. We're gaining 2 mana per turn on him now as well. And then we just go wipe it out. And as you can see, the Mesmers are giving us a lot of stats. They do stack. And we're gaining 5 to all stats to all purples per one that we have. And since we have 3 of them, that is 15 to all stats. So yeah, that's helping us out quite a bit. So let's go and actually go and take a little bit of a peek at what the hero class actually does. It is a pretty underwhelming class, unfortunately. It used to be a bit better back in the day. These days, it didn't really get the greatest of trees, so that made it pretty weak. Its traits are also relatively dated. One nice thing about it is it does have the best first trait of any hero class, so if you're a very low level player that has almost no trait stones, it does have that going for it in that it has the purple link, so you'll easily get +1 purple for every single purple that you take, and generally you're almost always using a purple weapon with this hero class if you're ever even bothering to use it. Other than that, it has a 50% chance to gain 1 magic every single turn. This is obviously very dated, since things like Bard gain 1 to all stats every single turn, not only to itself, assuming it's using yellow, but also to your entire team, assuming they're also using yellow. But yeah, it's not really that great, to say the least. As far as his trees, also has a little bit of a mixed match tree. He has Chaos, which, if I'm not mistaken, is actually the only hero class currently with it. But problem with Chaos, though, is it is very skull-oriented, but the traits of this hero class, as well as the other trees, are very magic-oriented, so it's a little bit mixed-matched in that it has no clue what on earth it's doing. But as far as trees, there's a couple different ways they can kind of go about it. But normally you would just go for a random status effect on the first one, go for the extra bit of purple onto the next, and keep stealing life from them. This one's actually pretty good on this one. You get to disease every single time you take an extra turn. It's actually the quickest downtime or 0 downtime method to actually disease an entire enemy team. For any of you that don't know, since disease is a pretty rare mechanic that's almost never used, it reduces the mana accumulation of that troop by 50%. So if they're taking a yellow and getting 6 mana, they would instead only get 3 and stuff like that. So basically it just halves all the mana that goes into that specific troop. Other than that, generally you would go for a Purple Storm, though you could also go for the 3 magic, and we're actually going to be using something where we actually even use the Hellspawn in one of our teams, but all 3 of those could technically be useful, mainly those 2 though. As far as the next one, you can also go for basically any 3 of these. It really heavily depends on your team. Again, it has a lot of options normally, it's just its options aren't really too strong, but it is decently versatile, kind of like how a archer is, except still weaker than an archer. But it has +1 to all allies for magic, stealthy so you don't get targeted, or you can go for the Doomstorm, which we'll be using for one of the teams. Getting that Doomstorm start is extremely devastating. It's the only way to actually currently start with Doomstorm. No other troop in the entire game can currently do it. Of course, there are other methods of Doomstorming, but still, it's the only way to get it from the very first turn automatically. Other than that, you generally just go and take a enchant whenever you take a green, easily gets your mana up very quickly on your hero, and aside from that, you basically just do the last tree based on what you're going to be doing. If you're going to be using it more for skull spam, you'll do the 1 stat reduction to all enemies. Unfortunately, if I'm not mistaken, this does have to be in first slot for our Tacet trigger, so very, very rarely would you actually utilize that. But the main one you would end up using is the very powerful 7% chance to assassinate the last enemy whenever another enemy dies. So generally you're going to get 3 7% rolls that could possibly instantly kill out the last enemy, which makes it a lot less that you'll have to kill. So it's pretty useful, and can definitely pack a punch. Other than that, let's go and mess around with it. As I mentioned though, not really the greatest of stuff on it. Has a few things that are kind of decent, but overall is definitely not a hero class you're really going to be using too much. Let's go take our revenge rival, I guess, and we'll start with Death Mark spam. It's a mechanic that doesn't get used too much, but it's decently accessible. This team, if you want to go and downgrade, obviously this particular one's more of a late game version of it, just so we can take off what we're facing right now. But going Green Seer, Giant Spider, Creeping Death with one other troop, relatively cheap. More towards the lower to mid range. Creeping Death you get for free from getting 250 wins on the Necromancer class. Also, I didn't bother showing the weapon and everything on this hero, mainly because it is absolutely useless. All it does is summon a Daemon for 16 mana cost. It is not really something you'll be needing. Obviously, you'll automatically get it just from playing it a bunch. But it is a horrible weapon, probably one of the worst weapons in the game. As you can see, we end up actually having a chant right here because we end up taking a yellow. I think at this point, we're just going to go all into it. Though I kind of would prefer going Gurgulfa mana or something to get up to full mana. That's actually a mana generator, so we're actually going to leave that as is. And kind of just ignore it for now, let him go for a Sunbird. And then we'll go from there. Ideally, we'd get our mana, doesn't seem like we have it. So we'll just go take the yellow over, the green over. Now we'll go dodge due to that random submerge we got at the start of battle. Surprised he didn't even take that skull yet, but we'll go through our Death Marks down. A Death Mark, after one turn, has a 10% chance per turn that it'll end up killing until it gets cleansed. So we could get a free kill. Also, the 7% chance to instant kill can trigger off the 10% chance that this also has the instant kill. So it's a lot of luck that will come into play. Kind of like with the Assassin and such. Basically how we're playing this team. Super, super, super luck based. We don't want to immediately throw another hit down though, because it's going to reset the 1 turn delay. So I'm actually going to just kind of wait a turn here. Let him have a Corvash or something. That's perfectly fine. We don't actually need those at the moment, though that does take away our mana generation capability. So we'll go throw another Creeping Death down. He'll actually Death Mark the same too. And he's going to get a Sunbird. I don't think we can actually stop him all the way, so he's just going to do his little thing. Guess we'll go and replace these now, and hope we can actually land some Death Marks, because currently we have not hit a single Assassin, nor a single Death Mark, though I'm pretty sure we're probably not going to hit a single Assassin this entire time, or whatever that thing is called, the Darkness Rising, 7% instant kill thingy. But we'll go take the purple over, and hey, we got a Death Mark to hit! Can we get more Death Marks to hit? Probably not. We'll just throw another Creeping Death, get the damage down, and at this point, I guess just do one more, or even just a Death, anything to really just clean up. And since we are blocking it a little bit, you know what, we'll go for it still. I was going to say just take a blue or something, but it'll still reach full mana. And then we can just kill it off the split damage. Also, both of them technically do have synergy in that they both do true damage to first slot. Since every purple we take this true damage, and of course we do 2 true damage per turn with the death thingy. So let's go into this. Looks like a pretty fierce Yagway team, but we're going to be going even fiercer by going into Doomskull spam. So every single thing on this team... Oh, by the way, the thing I was talking about earlier, this is the weapon that you get from the hero class at 250 wins. It is super, super useless. It just summons a random Daemon. Every single one of its upgrades are useless. It has 3 magic, which it barely even needs, because after you have over 20, you don't even need any more on it. It creates a single purple, which is always bad whenever you do a single gem spawn. Just everything about it's bad. It even gets a 10% chance to summon a Quasit. And why would you ever need that? Especially on a mythic weapon. That doesn't make any sense at all. That's like the worst possible thing you could even summon off a Demonicon, and yet it only has a 10% chance of doing it. Well, at least that's better than it having a 100% chance, if nothing else. But yeah, you would never even max this weapon unless the game forced you to for a Kingdom upgrade. It's just so bad. It's definitely one of those kind of things that needs a bit of rebalancing. Quite a few weapons do. Of course, they haven't done a patch since then, so we don't know exactly what they're going to be doing if they do rebalance. But anyways, let me go change this class. We're going to be using it now more so for the Doomstorm aspect. We're going to get rid of our Stealthy for Doomstorm start, and we're going to get rid of our Purple Storm. Obviously, we don't need 2 Storms. That would just do... actually, I don't even know which one would trigger. I think the later one would, so it'd probably be a Doomstorm. But we're going to be replacing that out now for the 50% chance to summon a Hellspawn when an enemy dies. And we'll be utilizing this in the fact that we'll be using our Firebomb immediately. So basically, there's another reason why we have a Firebomb. As any of you know who ever got a Doomstorm against a Firebomb before, they can go super, super crazy with it. It's not that likely, but 4 explosions can definitely do a lot of value. So we'll see if we get anything here. It doesn't look like it, but we do land our extra turn if nothing else. So we'll try just moving some stuff. We can Anu Scepter to try to get something to work here. I think we actually get rid of purple and go from there. As long as there's 7 purple, which there should be. Yeah, there's more than 7. We'll go for that and should be able to get something to land here, like a red convert. So now that we just use Anu Scepter to get the board as we need, we just do this, throw it right back in. As you can see, we got the summon right there. We're probably not even going to need him, but, you know, why not? And go get the hit, go down again, and there you go. That's what a Doomstorm's start looks like. I think that will have a lot of potential once a actual hero class, like a legitimate hero class that uses it, actually comes into the game. But yeah, that was a little bit towards the luckier side, but you can see the general premise of what happens when you start with a Doomstorm. But yeah, you can have quite a bit of fun with like Doom spam teams. But yeah, it's a okay hero class, not much you would use it for. As far as if you would bother leveling it, it's definitely below the midpoint as far as good or bad. It's definitely more towards the bad side. So as far as the event and everything, I'd mainly only do it, of course, if you want to make leaderboard. Other than that, I wouldn't really bother at all. It's a class that you can pretty much ignore until you're forced to have to due to kingdom upgrades, and we are not going to need to do that for quite a while. So yeah, it's not really one I'd bother bringing out. If you needed cast damage or spell damage or anything, these days you would normally just use Bard. And if you needed some kind of skull-oriented class, you would normally just use something like Assassin or whatever the new hero class comes in that has that Doomstorm on it. Because whatever comes in is almost guaranteed going to be better than Sorcerer. But anyways, guys, that's everything for this video. If you still have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a wonderful day. Goodbye, everyone.